Okay, so what is this here? I'm actually wanting to show some cool stuff that I've been working on lately. Now, what is this? I actually decided to do sort of a personal challenge for myself. Some of you may know this, some of you may not. But during my day job, I actually work as what's called a user experience designer or UX designer for short. Uh, the company I've worked for I guess close to a decade now. I've produced a lot of cool stuff. I got to work on a bunch of really cool projects, but unfortunately, I can't really share pretty much any of the stuff that's not been released there publicly. And so I figured this would be a great way to sort of entice folks who are curious to see that kind of work, what it is that I can do. And so this, like I said, was a personal project I started about a week and a half ago. And so I'm setting a deadline that I'm kind of expiring for myself right now. I'm still going to keep working on the project, but not at the sort of breakneck pace that I had been. Because, like I said, the goal was to kind of set that sort of deadline for myself and see how far I could get. So I'm just going to kind of go over some things here. And yeah, if you have questions or whatever, feel free to message me or check me out. I'm basically JDPOZ everywhere on the internet. If you search that, I'll probably show up on Figma, on a bunch of other stuff. I'm slowly updating things to make it so that folks can find my stuff a lot easier. Anyway, so let's get started. So yeah, what is this? For those of you who don't know, there's an awesome company that makes really great food. In fact, my son's favorite food in the whole world. I have a little guy who just absolutely always could eat this every day. It's called Raising Cane's. Originally, I'm from Louisiana, and that's where Raising Cane's first started back in quite a while back. But they're a place that my spouse actually was one of the early patrons of. For those of you who don't know, they started around Baton Rouge next to the campus for LSU. And since they're starting, they've kind of rocketed this amazing success for the quality of the product that they have, which I think is kind of under-recognized by a lot of folks as to how good it really is. I highly recommend checking it out if you ever get a chance. However, my job, like I said, is working in user experience. And one of the things that I felt was kind of not up to the par I'd expect for Canes, or that's what I call it for short, is their user experience for their application on their mobile devices. If you've ever used it, it's a very web front end kind of looking setup. It doesn't use a lot of native stuff, it seems. It's not terrible, and it actually supports some really cool features that I think are kind of hidden. But like I said, I wanted to go over some of the things that I thought could be improved and explain sort of my process to give you an idea of how it is I do what I do from sort of a high level. So, user experience design, is it just making pretty pictures? No, that is part of it. But the main thing really, especially in recent years, is things have evolved. There's a lot more data-driven decision-making that happens. And any good user experience designer will tell you that your team is really what makes your experiences really successful. Your user researchers giving good interviews with users and doing testing and gathering data and using metrics and A/B testing and a bunch of other things that essentially boil down to making what you would call a low friction experience for people. And so I want to kind of go over some of the stuff that in my research and doing this project in a week and a half, as much research as you can do, what I put together. So first of all, first thing I did was throw together a rough schedule of what I wanted to do. I just kind of quickly put this board together in a program called FigJam, which is kind of the companion app to Figma that lets you build out like a whiteboard sort of environment. It's really great for team collaboration stuff. But this project, 100% on my own, from scratch, my own analysis, my own references, my own personal version of Figma and everything that just subscribe to the pro version of to get access to variables and things. Stuff I've been used to using on the enterprise model. Anyway, so my goal was, like I said, to build out a quick schedule and then to set myself that deadline. And December 3rd is today, and so that's where the deadline is for myself. So first of all, we did user research, some references, and build some personas. The research having to do with some articles, reading about how food ordering works, looking at some of the gold standard apps. I would say actually like Chick-fil-A. Anybody familiar with that app? It's an amazing application. Really great reward system programming in there, and just an overall super smooth UX. And then also Starbucks is the other one. That one's the one probably everyone's most familiar with. Again, gold standard, highly intuitive, very fast, low friction, great angles on everything on that one. But anyway, that's the first stage, is just getting that research. And then, what's really interesting, I find, is all of this other information that you can find about things like user retention, stickiness, like seeing how a good application can really actually improve a lot of your customer retention. And, when someone comes into an application and they have a good experience, they're actually more likely to kind of pick you when it comes to the complicated choices they have when it comes to making a decision on what sort of things they want to eat. You make a bad app, it doesn't mean people aren't going to go eat your food if you have good food, but if they have a choice between yours and 4 or 5 other places, and yours is a hassle to deal with, or login's not really smooth, or you ask for a lot of commitments up front from your user, you're going to have people bounce off and just go to the other applications. So that's the real value that you get from doing this kind of work. So these are the kinds of things that you get a lot of bad sentiment with in these sorts of applications. You get people upset that logins are not functional, or that the sign is not working. That the drive-through is, slow or whatever. Now, these aren't super clear sometimes what they're talking about, but you can gather that a lot of pain points come from what the user describes as login. Now, this may not directly indicate that there's a problem with the login, but actually a lot of ancillary things around the login that, you may not immediately associate with it, but are actually kind of what the user in their mind calls login. And that would be things like permissions, too many welcome screens, a backend that doesn't lock into the services and things they already use, like, Apple single sign-on or Google single sign-on, that kind of thing. So that's all enough for the research stuff. Let's move on to the next stage. The next stage was building these user personas. So a lot of user researchers are way better than me at this, but I just kind of threw some stuff together. Some user personas I put together were some basically imagined customers that, the company would want to get to buy stuff from them, and this is usually done by taking a bunch of these interviews that user researchers do and then anonymizing the data and sort of averaging it and getting these sort of fake people from it. And so from that, you generate these. Me, with a week and a half and no actual interviews to do except for people around me, like family members, I just basically changed some identities and created some folks that are, if you know me, they're pretty clearly based off some folks that I know. Anyway, we've got Mike, Susan, and Kelly. And the one I decided to do a user journey with here is Mike. And the way I did that was I took Mike and I had it so that he would choose to go in an alternate universe in one or the other of these 2 applications to kind of show the good and the bad of each. Now, let's take a look here first at Kane's current app. And these are, again, screenshots of what I gathered from the application on my own device. And so this is what the app looks like from startup. We're going to basically have Mike go through making a single meal purchase here, all the way to the point right before checkout, because I didn't actually buy the meal here. I'll fill you in on the information that happens there. It's pretty standard stuff. Anyway, so I have little comment bubbles that pop up that basically explain what Mike's thoughts were. So first of all, the Cane's app startup is a little slow. Also, it's static. It's just an image. Usually in a lot of other applications, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, they have real dynamic screens, mostly because it's, a good way to reassure the user that everything's loading fine. A quick animation will really increase your user's patience for, stuff that's otherwise kind of a slog. Okay, so actually, we're assuming also Mike already has an account, but one of the things here to take note of is that if you don't already have an account with the Cane's app, one of the things that kind of is a high friction point is that they make you look through these multiple screens here. So when you first land and you have no account, you basically have a welcome screen, welcome, and it gives you a bunch of text on what to do. Now, this is kind of a missed opportunity because if it is your user's first time and you are going to have some sort of welcome screen, you want to use that to promote something specific. And you also don't want to overdo on the promotions because most people are going to forget the 3 screens before the last one on the 4th, if they remember that. But we're going to talk about that some more here in a second. So the next screen that you would see though that first time is what anybody calls front-loading commitments from user, which is not really a good practice to engage in. Basically, if you walk into a place and they go, I need you to give me this, I need you to give me this, I need you to give me this, that's not going to make users want to interact with you. You're asking for commitments up front, and the way you actually should be doing it is that you ask for commitments as they're needed on the back end, right? So that means instead of asking for permission for location as soon as they open the application, you instead wait until they're doing something that would be best served by providing location services access and granting them, and then ask them. So wait until they're searching for a location to go eat at, and then you go, hey, if you let us use your location, we can help find it faster. Then they'll likely say yes. Same for things like push notifications. Push notifications are not your chance to advertise, or at least you don't want the user to think about that whenever they enable them. By asking for permission first here, you're creating that like, well, what is it you want from me? When you should ask for push notifications is whenever you can actually demonstrate value for the user. For example, in an application where you're checking out and buying things, push notifications, you would want to say after their purchase, hey, if you turn on push notifications, we can let you know when your order's ready or when it's on its way or when it's delivered. Most people are like, oh, I want to know that. And then they'll click OK. You're still asking for the same commitment from the user, but instead of asking for it up front, you're showing them all the value that they can get from your application, letting them build sort of their own commitments based off of their own wants. And then you can get that commitment much more easily from them because they have already done the things they want. And there's a thing called the sunk cost fallacy. And not that I advocate taking advantage of people's psychological sort of shortcomings, but same with the gambler's fallacy. If someone thinks, well, I've already spent this much, even that includes with time in an application, they're more than likely to give you the thing that you want after you've given them stuff that they want. So here's those screens again. We're still just on the second welcome screen. We've got another promo image up here, I guess, showing the food moving quickly, I guess. And we're asking for these reasons, and they say, okay. And then you tell them, this is why you need it. There, you hit okay. And they hit okay again. It's like, okay, you did it. Good job. Okay. All right. And then you do it for the other one. And it also says, good job. Okay. All right. We get to our third screen. It tells you, act like a Vic, which is very important. Caniac. That would be awesome if they have a rewards program that supports that. As robust as something like Chick-fil-A's or Starbucks. I have not dug in deep enough really to see if that's the case. But they're telling you should do that. So otherwise, this screen doesn't really provide any value to the user. It just feels like an ad. They're going to swipe through it really quickly, probably. And finally, we get to our first screen asking for the user to sign in. The same criticisms apply for this, though. It's the same with the asking for these services at the beginning. You don't want to do that. You want to show them what they can do. And then at the very end, if they don't already have an account or they didn't hit login on their own accord, you tell them if they want to place their order, now's the time you ask for creating an account. This is what Chick-fil-A does. They let you build a full basket of your order. And then as soon as you're going to hit checkout, then they say, it'd be great if you could do that, but you do have to have an account to do that. But because the user spent all this time building their perfect milkshake and their fries and whatever else, they're more than likely to go, okay, especially if it utilizes, again, another thing we're going to talk about called single sign-on services, things like Apple's sign in with Apple or sign in with Google. So in this case here, as soon as you hit sign up, we've got our cool disco ball, which thematically works well for canes. I wish it was a little nicer looking, maybe an HTML5 animation or a little 3D ball or something like that. Seeing that it's definitely an animated GIF with these 1-bit transparency effects is a little sad because it means, one, it's not optimized loading wise probably, but two, it means we're looking at something basically that was created quite a while ago. Anyway. So we see a generic loader now. So we have a loader with a loader. This is just this basic web backend one that we're seeing load up here, which reveals, that Kane's using just a web backend for login, again, instead of like native system stuff. So we get our web form here. We ask for passwords. I noticed that the app does not, even though I have an account, it did not actually tie in the URL to being tied with Kane. So I actually had to manually search it to pull up the URL. This is something that a lot of apps do. There's a lot of apps, they have like a page.sign-in, and then like if you try to sign in with a web ID, then it's going to like look up like 1,000 of your IDs that are done with these. And so it's very easy to accidentally log in with the wrong password. Anyway, another not so great screen is that after you've done all this, when your token expires, meaning the thing that lets you just stay logged in, you get a screen that pops up that says, hey, your session expired. Now, this is the wrong response here. And anyone who uses Starbucks and who's lost their login token or been logged out will tell you, Starbucks does the best thing here. What they do is they don't show this sort of your login expired. What they do is if you come to a screen and it doesn't look like you're logged in, if you tap the join or login button, then it quickly does a Face ID check on your iPhone, and then you're in. And then you don't have to see these like technical terms that are jargon and scare a lot of people off. Anyway, Kane's, I am happy to see that they do support two-factor authentication, though I am unhappy to see that it's not the native platform type that's encrypted. Instead, it's just a simple text message. Be a good idea for customer security to an actual 2FA there. Anyway, this is the kind of thing you get with that. You can do these like QR codes and stuff and use those for verifying logins. Anyway, so you log in. Finally, we're here on the start of the app. And what we got a full screen picture that looks pretty much like the other pictures we saw earlier. Not again promoting anything specific, and kind of I don't want to say a waste, but like potential being missed out on. The next problem here is that the only elements you can interact with here are at the very bottom. And we got our two weirdly spaced out elements here for home and order. I don't know why home's not lit up. I figure we're kind of already at home, but I guess maybe not. But whenever you click here, this brings up a text field to type in, which no one likes to do. What should happen here is whenever they first get here, you ask them if they can, have their location stuff here, not have them press another button after you already gave permission for location stuff. Anyway, so let's get back to Mike's persona thing here, because we already talked about, that was just the welcome screen. So let's just pretend Mike's already got his account and he came here. He likes the picture here, right? Ooh, that looks good, but he wants to order. When he hits order, nothing really happens. And so he has to click, to bring up a store, but you can't really see anything that you want to interact with down here. He doesn't even know the stuff's down there until he clicks, and now suddenly favorites and recent and nearby show up. And again, we explain what favorites are. You don't need to explain what favorites are. People know what favorites are. The next thing is you can toggle between map and list view. But again, the map view is not really taking up the proper amount of the screen. It's only taking up the very bottom. We still got our big picture at the top here. Anyway, a good use of logging in and showing that the user's name right here, but we can use this a lot more cleverly in the way that Kane's other marketing stuff does and what they do when you do the drive-through. Anyway, so we have Mike go through here. He clicks his location, picks out a location, and he gets to the menu here. He also noted that whenever he tried to order, he saw the place a group order or a single order, and he picked single order. So he sees the combos here and he's like, okay, I think I want a combo. That looks good. And so he clicks it and goes to the combo screen. Now, one of the problems with this is that these look almost identical. If you're swiping between these things and you see almost the same thing, then users might think something happened, like the app refreshed instead of it going to a different page. You usually don't want to have if you're going to have some sort of tag for something, you don't want to have it in the middle there where you get like a Where's Waldo effect here, or like I don't know if you've ever said Highlights Magazine, where like, what's the difference between these two? Playing a game like that, you're going to get people thinking that it's the same page, which is not great. Also, the elements here are super large, which are great if you're showing off feature photography, like on a landing page. But if you're making the users being able to get through your application to find stuff, this is not optimal. You want to get a nice balance between showing off your great visuals, but also making navigation not have to be scrolling entire page links to go through one element at a time. Now, again, we have another promo up here. We show holiday party stuff, but nothing actually to click action-wise on it. I think that just takes you to the tailgating section here. So anyway, So Mike clicks the combos, and he wants the cane box combo. So he clicks it, and we get our pop out here that then lets you customize it. The first thing, we show a bunch of text at the top giving us the information that's relevant, like the calorie count, the price, and then the detail of what's in there. The one issue with this that I try to fix later is the box combo and all that stuff. There's no inherent explanation to how much is in it. You can look at the photo and see it, but because the main thing is how many chicken fingers differs between the combos, later on when I build mine out, you're going to see that I actually highlight the number of fingers here with a subheader. So anyway, all right, so we customize it. So having the text customized to the right of this is not great because it makes it look like you are required to customize your combo. Now what they're actually trying to say is things that are yellow are required. That's not super clearly indicated here. This is not great. Should probably follow a standard more of, customizations are not required to continue. You have defaults, and then if people go off the reservation as far as what the standard is, then you show that. But you have preset options that users do. Now, I actually do that later by separating the drinks out from this stage here. Next thing that's a little weird. So if you want no coleslaw, you click the picture of the coleslaw, and then that makes you have no coleslaw. Also, this use of the abbreviations, I've gone to Cane's enough times that I know what these are. This means no slaw. This is for the back end systems. I think it's for the team to recognize on the receipt what it's supposed to be. There's no reason to show this to your customers. They don't know what this is. They're gonna, I don't know, they could make an assumption like, is this some sort of like food certification or whatever. But there's no reason for this for the user. They don't need to see this. The other thing is it looks like there's something wrong with this order initially. Whenever they glance here, they can't click here to actually move forward. They can't add it because, again, we don't have a standard recipe that the user can sort of speed through. They have to scroll down a bunch to then start making decisions here. So the other thing that's weird is after they've seen the no coleslaw thing here and the no toast thing here, you scroll down far enough, now we see the cane sauce. Well, if you want more of that, you can click that to add more of it. So you click here to add, but you click here to remove these things. So for our drink now, we get down to our drink section. We got our little divider that shows where that is. It's this, so we scroll through and scroll and scroll, and we click something we want. I'm a half and half tea guy myself, and so is Mike. So Mike clicks that, and then we have an expansion, an accordion that pops out is what they call this, where it slides open to reveal other options within. And when you click these, there's no reason why you shouldn't default to regular on this. If the user wants to change, that's fine, but you don't need to click this and then click regular. It should be preset in the same way that Cane's Ice is preset. Also, post collector's cup. Missed opportunity here. If you're wanting to advertise that to the user, you'd want a big picture here. So instead of having your 4 or 5 big pictures in this part when we're logging in, this would be a good opportunity to try and put one of those here. So that's something I do later. Now, with me clicking my cup here, the size and everything, I finally can add to my order. The button lights up. The price changes based off my customization I made. They increase the price with the large. Good relative price change here. I like that they do that. And so I click that. And if I have any special instructions I want to do, like I know one of the Cane's secrets is butter on both sides of your toast, I've got to manually type that in. Now, as a business, you don't ever want this to be the case. You do not want your customer to have to manually type out communication with you, because when you do that, you get really bad interpretation problems. You get spelling errors, you get language barrier issues, and in the case of the Cane's app, you get an unspoken character limitation. So if I try to say toast with butter on both sides, I can only get to this before I run out of letters, and it doesn't even tell me that I'm out of letters. You just see that your letters aren't updating. And God forbid if the team has to try and interpret whatever that means, you're going to get customers who are upset because they're going to think you weren't listening to their special instructions. Anyway, so we get all of our stuff set up. We add to our order. We get a thing that lights up and tells us our order's added. And I just happen to notice that this little guy lights up too. Problem is, we've got like repeated stuff here with like the my order up at the top and my account thing up at the top. And then we also have order at the bottom here and etc. It's a little kind of disparate and broken a little bit. So anyway, we're about to finish checking out finally. We see the add other menu item. We see checkout. They're the same color. That's a little odd. You don't need to force them to the checkout thing. Bringing them back to the main page and just making the my order button or the guy here very prominent will allow the user to check out whenever they want. You don't want to have them click another button to get back to the menu they were already on. All right, so we scroll through here. I'm ready to check out. I see the Be Our Guest card. It asks me to enter a big number or something. I don't want to do that. That's annoying. Same with coupon codes. If you got something that can be applied really quickly and easily, you want to use that. You want to have people typing in codes. All right, so Mike checks out. Mike's thoughts after doing this. I was able to get what I wanted, but there was some confusion. It felt like it was not quite as smooth. So the other apps I've used, like Chick-fil-A and Starbucks apps on my phone, I hope they understand what I meant in my special instructions. Hopefully the team members there are really great at deciphering that as toast is butter on both sides. All right, so now let's take a look at a comparable experience for Mike in the Chick-fil-A app. So Chick-fil-A app, if you haven't used it, it's great. I like Chick-fil-A's food. I like Cane's food. You can like either one more or less. It's totally fine with me. We're not here to argue over which one's better. We're over here to observe what sorts of good user experience mechanisms and practices are engaged with the Chick-fil-A app that really set it apart from a lot of the other applications out there. So first thing first, Chick-fil-A's app, blazing fast, loads in less than 500 milliseconds. Comparison's sake, this app with just a picture loads in about, I think, 3,000, maybe 5,000. This translates to 5 seconds in about half a second. Plus you get a nice little cool animation here where the little dots spin around the chicken. And then we immediately land on this beautiful feature photography page that shows me something. And if I click this, I can go straight to that product. Now, I'm already logged in, but if I wasn't, it still shows you this. The only difference is no personalization here. Now, the reason this is great is because this lets people who are new customers take a look at the stuff you have. They have the ability to hit menu and take a look at all of the great things you have on your menu. And so you aren't scaring them off by requiring they give you 15 different permissions access and create an account, all that, just to see what you've got. Because just like at a store, if a store asks you to buy a membership before you can go in, that may work for, I guess, Sam's Club and Costco, but that's not how you do business in most places. A restaurant, like, that asks you to sign up or whatever before you can walk in and order, or I guess McDonald's or whatever, is not going to do super well. Anyway, so first things first, the most prominent button they feature is the one they want you to click, which is the pick up at restaurant or deliver to me. They also have their order catering here from that front menu as well, but it's not quite as prominent. They want you to click pick up at restaurant. They want you to either do the drive-through or whatever. So first thing you do, click that. We have a card that slides out and you get the location that you either have favorited listed first, which is awesome. No selective favorites menu or anything like that. It's right there. It assumes the one that you are nearest to and is a favorite is the one you want to go to. It also then lists recently ordered from, and then ones that you've ordered from another time, long ago or whatever, that you have on your favorites list. It basically uses a tiering though to prioritize these so that you're most likely to be picking the one that the customer is interested in picking based off of those sort of like habits and analysis you can do. So I click start my order, and then I can pick whether I'm doing drive-through, carry out, or dine in, because these will change the checkout experience and everything a little bit. So I click drive-through, and it tells me at the top now which one I'm going to and what I'm doing, and I can immediately start ordering. Now, it also defaults to the previous orders I've done recently. I can see that I have the full menu option here as well as favorites that I've customized, but it assumes you're going to want to get the same thing that you got last time, which is a pretty safe assumption to make. Especially if the customer already did a favorite last time. The favorite is the one they're probably going to order again this time. And so they just make it so you can do that. You can add to order or you can customize it. Add to order is a shortcut way to just immediately put it in the cart and get ready to go. Now, Mike's deciding he's going to actually browse through. So he hits the full menu button and he's going to look at the different meals. Now, notice they make sure that each time you do a transition to a different menu, they very carefully make sure that you see there's a bunch of different stuff visually. The size of them is about the same elements, but they are all different, so they don't have that, like, again, the Where's Waldo effect of did I change screens? No, on Chick-fil-A's app, you change screens. Notice they also use these chevrons to the right to reinforce this sort of this abstract of you're moving to the right. You go from left to right. You start from the left and you go to the right. It's pulling up things and it's going to the right. So I click this and it will slide and give me one layer down into it. So I click meals and I go down and here's my meals. I can see at the top that I can go back at any time if I want to, and I can click any of these things here. Notice my navigation at the bottom always stays the same too. I can go to my account, I can check my order anytime, I can check my rewards. If I'm just needing to scan or whatever, all these things are like quick access. I'm currently on the menu tab here, and so if I need to switch, I can. So Mike's deciding he wants the spicy chicken deluxe meal. He clicks that. Now we're on our customizations page. Again, great picture showing the product. And this is great. This is one of the things they do that's really awesome, is that from here, you can immediately just hit next if you want, right? And what that means is you just get the standard recipe. So they actually go from order of hierarchy of most common to least common. So you can just click go here to go to the next one, but they also allow like a top level customization here. Like if you want to switch cheeses or whatever, you can do that. However, if you scroll down lower, you can see there's actually individual options. So you have a more granular set of options down here. Again, you give them the opportunity to dig deeper if they want to, but they have a shortcut way to just go through as fast as possible too. Big to small. Click go to go through the options here, or go down to go through the detailed options. So you click next to choose a side. Now, the side thing, because Cane's doesn't have, so you customize, I don't know, the shape of the chicken or any other stuff there, or like pieces of lettuce, whatever. This sort of like breakdown is not necessary, but the compartmentalization is great because it does allow you to go through a bunch of different menu options really easily and quickly. And Chick-fil-A's been doing a great job with that. So Mike wants some waffle fries. It's got a great picture of them. And the picture actually adjusts based on which size you select. And it gives you the calorie breakdown plus the change in price for everything. And this also has those same customizations where if you scroll down, you get more of them. Next, they isolate out the beverage step. You click the same space for whenever you're done with a section. It's always in the same place. Next, choose a beverage. Next, choose this. Next, choose that. We click next, choose beverage. Then we get our list of beverages. Now, Chick-fil-A, like Cane's, is known for their sweet tea and lemonade as well. So they feature those things separately. If you want to, you can toggle to one of these other tabs to these non-standard drinks like soft drinks and then treats, and other being, of course, water and a bag of ice, things like that, treats being shakes or whatever. But it's very clear what these things are representing. And most people, when they go to Chick-fil-A, they get tea or lemonade or some combination. And so they give you all those options here. The one thing I wish they could do is somehow visually make a distinction between, things like sweetened versus unsweetened, but there's not really a standardized iconography there. So short of trying to teach the user, you just got to get them to read the text here. So Mike picks the half sweet, half unsweet, and then here we have our different sizes. So as soon as you click one of these, we get to the screen here to make the size selection. You can choose that. You can leave it medium. Medium's pre-selected, which is great because I can just hit review if I want. But if I want to make customizations here, I can do that. And so again, same with the granularity. If I scroll down, then I can adjust things like if I want extra ice or light ice or no ice, or if I want to add more sugar, or if I scroll further, there's like Splenda and things like that, different kinds of sweeteners. Anyway, Mike's simple. He likes it medium, and he hits review your meal. So finally, before we're finished and ready to go, we see our customized meal here, and we're ready to check out. If this is wrong and we want to go back, we can hit X. Or if we need to change one element we got wrong, like say you want to change the size of the fries, you click these individualized sections, and guess where it takes you? Right back to the section where you made those changes. And so it's really great for making shortcuts to the places you need to make adjustments. Now, the other great thing here, if you notice, is there's a heart up here. This means if you want to save this exact customized meal, you can do that. And then you can come back to it whenever you want, even if you haven't ordered it in a while. Very useful if you have a kid who's picky about wanting chocolate milk and the older kid's toy or whatever instead of, the standard thing. But then he suddenly doesn't care about that and wants to do something different until 3 months later, he suddenly sees his friend has a toy from there and he wants to get that. Anyway, whatever. The other thing is they also let you duplicate your meals. So if you have a couple of kids who like the exact same thing, you can just hit the plus here and it will add 2 of them to your order. And it even shows you now, after we add to order, what happens? The card slides away. We're back at the main menu. It doesn't say you have to continue to go back to the main menu like the Cane's current app does. It just takes you there. We get a little quick pop-in notification telling us exactly what happened. 1 copy of this order was added to my order. Same iconography, scaled up, so it's clear where it went to. The 1 pops in over here. Now, Mike's ready to check out. So what does he do? He clicks the My Order tab. Now, this is similar to our review of the meal thing, but it breaks down into little sections. And if you click this section, it basically goes and lets you adjust this guy here again. And you can save the order also as a whole separate order thing that's a favorite, not just the meals, not just the individual components. They also use this moment here to do those last second sort of promotions, right? This is where you say, hey, do you want to get the toy or whatever? You want to get the shake? Do you want to get the, the Post Malone cup, whatever? You do that on this screen. So Mike's thinking about getting a shake, but he's like, oh man, I got to be in good shape from a wrestling match. So I'm going to skip out on that next time. I'll get it maybe. So, and he clicks continue to checkout. Does the checkout. We then bring up anything that's needed for that. They support the Apple Pay. They confirm you're going to be doing drive-through. They confirm the address, and you hit complete my order. Bada bing, bada boom. And it was clear, fast, and a lot of customization options. It made sense to him. So the takeaway from that is a few things. And that also from the not just Chick-fil-A app, but the Starbucks app. This idea that we can do a single promotion, the idea that we can have request permissions only when we need them instead of upfront, the idea that even when the stores are closed, you can still look at menus and things like that. You let your customers who are new take a look at things before they have to create accounts and do all this upfront commitment. And we just make smarter decisions branding wise, loading wise, and all that, and it results in a better application. So all that being said, the summary for all this information is as follows. Too many promotions at the beginning. We run the risk of the user losing track or forgetting what you want them to focus on. So what's the solution? We feature a specific promotion on the same page as the choose location menu landing page. That gives us sort of a double function there, right? In the same way that you see on Starbucks app, same way you see on Chick-fil-A's app. Landing page should be where you do your pretty photo. All right. This is also where you promote stuff for your holiday stuff. This is where you promote for your celebrity endorsements or package things like limited time offers. You do one of those. You pick what it is. If you need to do A/B testing, you make it so that it's random for different users. You don't have it so that they go through 4 or 5 screens. They will skip them. They will forget all but the last and maybe even the last, depending on how fast they're skipping. Next, permission commitments. I got this one done, by the way. That's the green check. This one I'm still working on. It'll be something I finish here in the future. Permission screens during the initial welcome are asking for that too much upfront commitment. Talked about this. Don't ask for them to sign up for your newsletter and everything else at the beginning. Let them look and see the value they want before you ask them, hey, we can use this to give you better service. They're more likely to respect you for it, and they're going to give you way more information. So, login is using the web login instead of an SSO platform native option like Apple or Google or even just a common one like Meta or Facebook. If you have one of those other application protocols, you can really speed things up for users. They can create an account with like a single click. All that information can get parsed through on the back end and pushed in to provide them the email address and everything without them having to click and type in a bunch of stuff. No typing, you get people more willing to create accounts. Okay. So that's that. That I've not gotten to yet. That was something that I was wanting to build out just a simulation for. Choosing a restaurant currently is not an optimal priority sorting. The fact that you have to click the use my location after you already gave permission to use my location should not be the case. You should be giving the user option to order by tapping and then just showing them what's most likely the place they want to go to, or just letting them look at the menu if they're not logged in or they're not wanting to pick a location or anything yet. This I actually have done. All right, so navigation elements not being the right size. Yeah, there's a lot there where things are either hard to click or you're taking up too much space when you don't need to. Elements should be resized to be more standard. You know, the Apple has guidelines for this kind of thing. So does Android. I was able to do that. Some miscommunication with things like the required yellow pill label should just be guardrailed by segmenting out the meal customization. Not necessarily to the degree that Chick-fil-A does, but what makes sense for Cane's. The fact that you can customize how much toast, how much fries, whether or not you have coleslaw, how many sauces, that kind of thing. That should probably be its own sort of separate thing. And I did do that. So next thing, photos of meal components being the thing that makes them remove them. This should not be the case. You should have it if you want maybe to toggle things on and off. You can click on them, but not click on the picture of the thing to remove it usually. I have a design for this in mind as well. Special instructions, text-based ones. Terrible. Never, ever, ever, ever do that. Miscommunication, frustration from users, etc. My wife needs to update her iPhone, apparently. Remove those altogether, and then you instead use a robust option system. I actually got this completed too. Next thing, a repetitive photography that is obviously digitally assembled. It's not as appealing as it can be. I'm going to jump back just for a second on this. This is beautiful. It is a studio lighting setup. It's probably not actually milkshake. This is real pro stuff. It is worth it to get someone to do this. And notice they're not actually even showing their actual cups. They don't have glass cups at Chick-fil-A. They're just showing delicious looking products to entice their customers to buy them. It is good to use branding, but it's more important if you're trying to promote something to get them to get it. This sort of, what was it? The speedy food thing. That's not enticing. I mean, it's fun, I guess, but like you do that there and then you do another thing. You do another, like click it to, okay, good, clever use of words there, but it's just the same picture over and over and they're just reusing it. It costs a little bit, but you reusing the same photos over and over again, the user starts to, their eyes glaze over. Again, Chick-fil-A knows, Starbucks knows, good photography gets people excited to try your food. Look at that caramel macchiato. Man, I could use some coffee right now, actually. And Cane's is capable of great photography. They have some. This is not. This is obviously digitally assembled. There's fake shadows on everything, and even the location of this should be off to the side or a corner to help break up the picture. Again, this is Spend some money. Oh, there. See this. Even this is. I know this is like an older picture or whatever, but like this is real good professional photography. On a hot summer day, if you're seeing this, like I just want to stick my face in that, right? Anyway. Okay, so I didn't do that because I'm not a professional photographer with a massive studio to do a bunch of analysis and properly do all that good stuff. So I don't have that. That's not done. I was able to scrape some good photographs for a couple things, but Photoshop can't beat like a real studio environment. Don't let anybody think that they can make stuff look as good. Spend the money on that. Lastly, missed opportunity for more branding around loading and segmenting the loading out within the frame. Says simple full screen loading overlays. You should not be using like 3 different loaders. Don't use the web one if you got the cool disco ball. And if you're going to use the disco ball, make sure it looks nice and crisp. Don't use a 1-bit transparency animated GIF from 1998. So got all that done. All right. So that's the full analysis, right? Next was comparing the current simple purchase flow to what my redesign flow is going to be. Okay. So right now, these are our possible flows and pain points for new customers, right? So if you've opened the app before, it's not that bad, actually. They do a pretty good job of making sure there's not too many things. The number of possible steps, if you have logged in before, is about minimum of 9, which is what I'm able to get to with mine as well. But the thing is, you want to reduce that as much as possible because it goes up to like 15 if they're a new customer. So if they've not opened the app before, we get our welcome screen 1 or welcome screen 2, where we ask for multiple permissions, welcome screen 3, where they should create an account, number 4, where they log in and create an account. As long as they do it correctly, they are log in and finally get in. Requirements are met and it's valid. Then they can actually tap a location. They can select from the nearest address. Then they can finally browse the menu. You want them to get to this step as early as possible. Then they can select their items. They can customize their items, add them to the cart, ready to check out. Yes, tap the order to the right, and they can make the payment and check out. Good job. Place the order. Thank them for making purchase and all that. So, what's the new proposed flow? New proposed flow. Again, this is not rocket science on the back end here. All of this. It's just not easy to assemble it all in a logical way, like unless you know what you're doing. Anyway, so user opens app, single welcome page / landing page. You don't need a welcome screen separate. Just have it so they land on it and you see the promo right there. Again, same way Starbucks does, same way Chick-fil-A does, same way most of the really good apps do. You don't have to have them log in, and they can see something beautiful that makes them want to eat at your establishment. Or if they've already been there before, you use it to promote something like, hey, check out our new Christmas tree ornament this year or whatever. All right. So they do start order. Make that button the most prominent because you want them to start an order with you, right? So next thing is we have them choose a location, and we use that priority thing so it makes it much quicker. It's most likely they click the very first thing at the top. All right. Browsing the menu. However, you should still be able to go to the menu at any point. From the welcome screen, if they don't click the start order, they should still be able to go to the menu tab, and they can look at stuff that's in the different places. Even if the store's closed, they should be able to look at the menu and take a look around, because this is where they're going to decide whether or not they're going to be a patron. You make them have to start an order or pick a location, whatever, you're creating more friction. All right. Browse the menu, select an item, customize it, yes or no, add to cart, ready to check out. Yep. They check out. Again, this is where you would ask for login, right? If they're not logged in at this point and they've done this full order, they put together stuff for all their 3 kids, and their wife is just like how she wants it and everything. And they're like, oh, I have to have a login. Oh, I don't have an account. Well, until this works. So now I'll create an account. Or if they just got logged out because of a token, you don't say login sessions ended. You just make it so when they click the button, you do a FaceTime scan, see if they can get in, or not Face ID scan on Apple, Android, fingerprint, whatever. And you log them in automatically, or you ask permission if you can do that, so that next time if it happens, they're immediately logged back in. Again, low friction. All right. Finally, they've created an account, or they already have one. Summary, checkout payment. Payment successful, yes. Thank them. They come to get the food. So number of steps, same. But for new customers, this only goes up to 10. It's just one more step. That's that account creation step versus the 14 we had for all of the welcome screens and this stuff. So this all's boring, right? If you made it this far, congratulations. You're making it to the fun part, which is the actual visual redesign of things. So this is what we build from all that. This is the new Canes app. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to do a basic checkout. Again, it's not finished. It's very rough. I did a lot of complex stuff here. If anybody's ever done stuff with variables, I went bananas here on that. So just be aware that there's a lot of stuff happening here. So like, I'll just give you an example. Go down to this guy here. These are the number of changes that occur. I have a bunch of different states that I'm tracking. Again, it's not just pretty pictures, folks. It's interaction states, especially if you want non-linear prototypes like I like to build. A lot of people like to just build simple, straight flows. I like to account for every possible scenario. So let's see what it looks like for somebody who already has an account. Are you ready? Here we go. Close that there. All right. So now instead of a static screen, I'm going to play that one more time because it takes a second sometimes for it to load in. Instead of a static screen, we get a nice glittery ball thing. I totally stole that, but I'm sure if Canes wanted to spend the money, they could either pay me to render something out or, hire a 3D motion graphics studio. I'd be picking if I probably want to do it myself. But again, that's this project, again, a week and a half for full on research, analysis, user journeys, redesign. Hopefully folks are, I don't want to say impressed, but at least like they respect me thinking I know what I'm doing here. All right. So our new landing screen though, we're a return customer. We use that customer's name here. In this case, Todd. Todd's the just random name I picked here. But we use the greeting that a lot of Canes folks do whenever you pull up to the drive-thru. Hey, you want some chicken today? Any person who's been to Canes often enough will know that they say this. So we kind of incorporate this as a fun thing into the ordering experience by saying, hey, username, hey, need to deck the halls for the holidays. So we rhyme it, and as long as we put their name in the middle, we don't have to worry about the rhyme scheme being broken either. So if you put hey Todd, now you got to write something with Todd. So that was a little trick there. But again, this is for if they're logged in. We have one for when they're not logged in too. In fact, I'll show you. I'll try and show some of that stuff simultaneously here. Here's my new user screen here. So, but the same basic flow. Again, we're looking to improve new customer attach rate and smooth out the UX for our existing customers. So again, in the real version, you wouldn't see the ball just suddenly appear like that. There we go. That's what it's supposed to do. This is just Figma's limitation. So we use the hey ready for chicken today on this one. Also, because we're not going to try and sell stuff to someone who's never been to the Cane store, like fan merch. If they've never been to the Cane store, they may not be a fan yet. Give them a chance to try the really good food. And if they become big fans, that's when you promote using, this kind of stuff here. So notice we have our place order for pickup. We have our standard menu stuff down here. And we also have the group order stuff, which again, I really want to redesign that. I also think maybe group order is not the right term. I think a lot of people think group order means tailgating or catering. This is something that Cane's feature-wise is really cool, but need to probably rework what the terminology and stuff is to get people on board to understanding it. Anyway, so I'm going to place an order for pickup. We got our card that slides out, and the last place that I went to, and it's also one of my favorites and is close by, is Highland location. Again, if you're a true Canes fan, you'll know where that is. But by default, we just have this list view. We don't need to pull up a map. I've been here before. This is what I want to go to probably. I want to click that one. And I'm going to click Start Order. As soon as I do that, immediately taking the menu, I see where I am. If I need to change, I can tap this. If I need to go back, I can hit the X. And I'm pulled up to the full menu here. I wanted to have it start on the recent one, but again, week and a half, folks. Been crazy. So we have our main features here at the top, and we have some of our other stuff here at the bottom, our Canes gear, gift cards, etc. So I'm going to order a combo, and I click that, and we have our box combo. Now this is, remember, I don't know if you remember way back earlier, I was talking about this, doing the highlighting the difference between each of the combos. Now this is more about our new customers rather than our existing ones, but if you're a new customer, you don't necessarily know what the difference is between these. So highlighting how many chicken fingers difference is really useful. Of course, unless you're talking about the 3-finger combo, which, it says 3-finger, right? So anyway, we have all of our different combos here. We're listed with their calorie count, etc. So I click on the box combo, and here is our new customization screen. So we feature our food looking really nice. We have our card pop out. If they ever want to drag it away, they can do that. But we're on the screen here. And so here are our options. So if we want to, we can just hit go. Right? But if we want to customize, we have that option now too. We aren't going to pick a drink on this screen. We're going to segment that out so that the user, again, they can skip this step if they're not a crazy person like me and they like to do a certain sort of recipe whenever they order. So first of all, I expose the secret options. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I love the secret options. I think it'd be cool to let people see those here. This is great because it doesn't require any of those text instructions like we talked before. It just allows the user to pick these things. So I'm going to do extra crispy fries. And I actually really like the toast. I'm less of a fan of the coleslaw. So I'm going to hit no coleslaw. Notice that changed. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? I can also click the picture if I want, and that makes it go away. Right? Or I can say 3 if I'm a crazy person. Uh-oh, that's too many sides. Please review and try again. Okay. Oh, no slaw then. Okay, that's valid. But because I got rid of a slaw, I still have an extra side. I'm going to do a double toast. And to let know it's off the standard recipe, we have these guys light up. And I'm going to do butter on both sides of the toast. But the other thing that's cool is if you are a horrible person and you hate the toast, there's no reason to show the butter options if you don't have any toast at all. So if I click to get rid of toast, no special options. Crazy, right? But we're not crazy. We like the toast. And so we hit next there and go on to the next one. By the way, the thing not popping up, that's one of the Figma errors, whatever. All right, so now let's pick a drink. Now, just like with Chick-fil-A, people love Cane's tea and lemonade, right? So we feature those things first, the sweet tea and the lemonade. We use the same copy as what's in the existing app, but we rearrange it so that it's easier for folks to read. So we also use pictures to help reinforce stuff on these guys as well. but only the parts that matter at the very top where you can see them. So we click, I guess, sweet tea. And now, since we made a valid selection here, we can pick our side. So, our drink size, excuse me. So here's the example I was talking about where you use your promotion, right? So we have our Post Malone Collector's Cup. So nothing is selected here. They have to make a selection. We don't have this default selected because we want them to choose this. But if they don't, they can just pick the regular. But this is that opportunity, like we were saying before, where you want to show them visually what it is they get. I know this one's probably out of print right now, whatever, but the idea is just promotions go in line with the place that it makes the most sense to offer them, not up front or somewhere odd. So I'm just going to do the regular drink today. And if we have special options, again, the same thing with the toast and everything else on the previous screen, we do that here. Let's pretend I picked unsweet tea, and I like ice a lot, so I'll do ice. And then there are special instructions. We let them choose up to 2, and we have it so if they try to take more than that, then it doesn't allow it. Only the last 2 that are done. If we want to do that, I don't know if I'm a crazy person, I do that, I guess, right? All right, so sugar and lemon, we put that in there. All right, review. All right, so this is similar to how Chick-fil-A does it, but we have our customized option here, right? We're ready to add this item to our cart. Now, again, to save us time, if we want to just do 2 of these, say I have 2 twin boys or whatever, and they love the exact same thing, that makes it easier for me. I just hit 2 and then hit add to order. Also, if I want to make this my favorite now, I just click the favorite and you say, oh, this is Todd's box. I'm going to hit confirm. And now Todd's box has been saved as a favorite. I get a little pop-in telling me that. And I know in the future, if I ever click Todd's box, it's going to be this setup where I got the double toast, no slaw, and sweet tea and everything like that. So I'm going to hit add to order. I'm going to do 2 of these because I'm extra hungry. Or you know what? No, I'll just do 1. And now we get the added to order. Notice this guy lights up. It's the same icon blown up. And that means we're ready to check out. And that right there is the redesign. It's not done. There's still other stuff to show as well. I wanted to show what the non-logged in user looks like to show you what our pain points are and how we improve those here. But that is basically it for those improvements. Now, again, to go over the stuff we talked about improving, feature specific promotion, right? With the little Christmas ornament things here. If I go back to the start, you can see those. So we featured that specific promotion instead of 4 different promotions. If I'm a return customer, I'm obviously a Cane's fan, I'm very likely to buy some sort of product like this. If I'm not a return customer, you're wanting me to be ready to eat your good food, so I become a return customer, and then you're able to promote these things like that to me. So we do that. Moving permissions. Okay, so this is where we're going to get into that. So we're pretending now that we're someone who's not logged in. We don't have an account. So we do place order for pickup. And now here's where we ask for permission. We use the Apple native permissions in this case, and Android if it makes sense there. And we want them to say, yes, allow, right? I have an option to show what it looks like if they hit don't allow, but let's just say they do allow this time. All right, so then we just show what's nearest. Or if we want, they can check the map and they can see what's close by. Because we allowed location, we now know that the Highland spot's right next door. If they feel like swimming across to going to this one, they can click that one instead. Oh, wow, they're all Highland. Look at that. So let's go to Highland. And there we go. And we're at Highland now. Even though I have not logged in or anything, let's see, this is one of these Figma errors where it's actually broken. It doesn't normally look like that. It normally actually looks like this binary state right here. I'll show you. Let's go to our app states. We're going to say logged out is true. So you can see we have a join thing that lights up here whenever they're logged out. That was just a little bug there. Yeah, so don't worry about that. But here's where they can, do all this order placing, get everything ready. And so that whenever they're ready to check out, all they have to do is log in there, And so that's the idea, is to make it so that those pain points are reduced, right? Don't ask for permissions for stuff until it makes sense to. And that is pretty much it. Yeah, I'm going to keep working on this. There's a lot still to do. There's a lot of stuff to sort of like keep ahead of and understand. But yeah, that's how you go about doing a redesign of an application in about a week and a half. I would say kind of the right way. The real right way would be a lot more wireframes and things like the boring stuff that we showed here, all these guys, but for every possible flow. And that you do with a whole team of people over a long period of time, like maybe, depending on how big your team is, how much money you're spending, how big the project is, how complex it is, 6 months or more, whatever. And yeah, but that is my attempt to redesign the Canes app. And what we're going to add later will be the join screen, our checkout and notification permission request, and the login prompt only at the very end of it. The promo pages, I want to make it so you can click on the dog ornament thing and actually place an order to add it to your order for pickup. The group ordering revamp thing, I really want to do that. And then also, I want to add in a reward system that's a lot more prevalent. And another thing that I think nobody's done, I thought would be really cool, because Canes, one of the really cool things about them I like a lot is that they have this sort of idea of tying into local flair in an area. When you go into a Canes, pretty much anywhere, whatever the local high school is, or the local, team, or any sort of like celebrity, like say, Elvis, whatever sang there, they're going to feature that kind of stuff there. I think a really cool opportunity would be whenever you click on the location of one to use that kind of art maybe on the background for things, or maybe even feature a customer image for some stuff. Have a contest where people take pictures of their Cane's food in really fun ways, and have that be on the page where you're customizing your order. You can see what they did or whatever. Have contests, give out gift cards, things like that. Encourage that fandom that really builds customer loyalty. And the last thing is something that, again, you see in a lot of places is location detail summaries. So certain locations sometimes have more features like drive-through, curbside, tailgating, catering, whatever. Some are located in a mall, so they don't have the drive-through, stuff like that. That would be nice to have for during the location selection screen. But those are the things I'm going to keep working on. This is the work in progress. I hope you liked it. And again, my name is James D. Posey. I go by JD. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And the link to all this stuff, if you go to Figma and search JDPOZ, I'll also put a link to the prototype so you can play with it on your actual phone. Again, note it is buggy. It is not made with real Swift UI native app code. It's done with Figma's built-in system, which is much faster for prototyping and really great for visuals. It shows what you can make in about a week here with this. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And yeah, I'll catch you next time.